All right, my name is Tariq Parvez. I live in Karachi. I'm 61-year-old. I started my business very early as per the family traditions. I started in 1978 when I was 18. Actually, it was on the next day of my 18th birthday. It was a small shop. That was my first business. And then from 1980, I ventured into international business, which was the service provider as an indenting agent, which is a link between the importers and the manufacturers in foreign countries. That model continued for about 20, 30 years. Then in early 2001 or 2002, I ventured into manufacturing business with the help of a Chinese company and a couple of partners. Everyone in my family, uh, everyone I know, my father, grandfather, brother, everyone, without any exception, they have been in business and have never done any particular job. They're all businessmen. Not all of them are entrepreneurs or big shot businessmen. Maybe small traders, maybe small shopkeepers, but they all do business. So I have this business acumen in my blood. Not really. Yeah, I mean, a few people that I know who have been doing wonderfully well. So I've learned from them and I've followed their examples and I've followed their principles of business. My education is master's in political science, which does not have any direct relation to the business I'm doing. But the education itself has been a great asset, especially when I started doing international business and going abroad and talking to foreign business partners. So being educated in general has been of great help. And if I was not educated, I would not have been able to do that at all. I did business, sales, and marketing well before my education was completed. As I said, I started in 1978. That was just after doing matrix. So I did my intermediate graduation and masters while I was already doing business. So I mean, I was earning the experience as I started my business. Well, I think in that case, probably we should be talking about the current business that I'm doing because when I started the business, it was just a small shop, so there was not really any thing about spotting the market. Since I was already in the business of chemicals, agricultural chemicals, as an agent of some Chinese suppliers, so I spotted the opportunity that instead of importing the raw materials and just selling them as a reseller, we should be importing the raw material and manufacturing it, formulating it locally and supplying. So that was the opportunity. I thought it was a good opportunity at that time, and I was one of the earliest people in Pakistan to venture into that field. Started this joint venture with a Chinese company, with us from Pakistan and a Chinese company, and it was a very large scale business, and definitely it took a lot of time. I think we spent about 6 months on it. We wrote a lot of business plans, feasibilities, financial plans, and the business model and everything. It took us a lot of time, and we had meetings in Pakistan, China, Singapore, and other places. So it took a very long time because it was a very large scale joint venture. At that time, I was old enough to finance myself, and I was the head of the family, so you cannot say. But yeah, in the early part of my career, yeah, there was some support from the family. But for the current business, I was old enough to do it practically all the time. About you can say 10 hours a day working time, and apart from that, a lot of visits to the market, to China, to Dubai, and also we started a new factory in Karachi. And in the beginnings, I think it was no less than 10 hours a day, probably more. In the beginning, when I was in the service providing industry, there was no capital involved, no need for any capital investment. But for the joint venture that I just mentioned, at that time, it required quite a big cash infusion from my side. Actually, it was a three-way joint venture: me, another Pakistani partner, and a Chinese partner. So the two Pakistani partners, me and the other, we invested just over $4 million. That was in 2002. And the Chinese company was also supposed to, according to the contract, they were supposed to invest about $20 million in that business. So it was about $24 million project at the beginning. I think it took us 1.5 years to achieve our first goal and target break-even. Maybe 1.5 years, yes. Lots of them, because as I said, there was a very large-scale investment from our side. So we invested almost everything we had in that one. So definitely there were a lot of challenges and lots of difficulties, because this business is rural based. So we also have to set up a plant very early. My partner actually had a plant in Dubai, which was functional, but it was very small. So we had to start up a new plant near Karachi at Hub, which was completed in about 6-7 months time, maybe 8 months. So, and also we had to manage the import and distribution and everything. So, I mean, it was life in the fast lane right from the beginning. No, none, because all the decisions were made by ourselves. And yes, among our staff, we definitely had accountants and the technical staff, which is agriculture experts and the chemists and everything. But from the top management level, no, none. That was our own business experience that made us polish. It was definitely my experience in this field, because I was in the agriculture chemical business for more than 20 years by that time, 25 years probably. So that was the biggest strength, because I was one of the earliest people in Pakistan to get into the agriculture chemical business. So my expertise, my connection in the market, and my know-how of the market, that was the biggest strength. And then my partner, who is actually a European national, he had experience in the marketing. So these two combined were our major strengths, because this involved manufacturing, which was a new venture for both of us. I have never run a factory before that. And the second challenge, the biggest challenge actually, was the nature of business. The business is extremely volatile because it's nature based, it's weather based. Maybe if I tell you a little bit about the nature of business, you'll understand. I'm in the agricultural chemical business, which is insecticide and pesticides. Okay. So that is totally dependent on the weather conditions, because in a certain weather condition, there are more pests that attack the crops, and we have to find the solutions for the crop protection. And that is extremely unreliable, unpredictable, because the weather, it can change, and then the habit and patterns of the pest also change. Sometimes you do not have enough product in your hand to control the pests that have attacked. And sometimes you have the product, but there is hardly any pest. So your inventory may be carried over to the next year. So the unpredictability of the market and the unpredictability of the weather, that was the biggest challenge. Yeah, I think the signing of this joint venture was one of the highlights, because it was a very large scale joint venture. $24 million at any time is a very big amount. Yes. And it involved a very large infrastructure. We set up about 300 franchise shops all over Pakistan. And the joint venture agreement was signed in the presence of the president of Pakistan at a very large investment conference in Beijing, China. And it was very large scale in both countries. So I think that was a very big moment. For in my earlier business, the earlier model, that indenting business, I was doing solo for more than 25 years, and I was doing pretty well, and I did not need any partner. But since times were changing and things were changing, and because of the technology and everything, communication between the buyer and seller had improved to a level that I thought maybe the indenting business may not last for as long as I wanted. So I had to venture into a different model, which was the local manufacturing. And for that, I definitely needed partners, because we have to run a factory. I needed a partner with the experience of retail marketing, and also a foreign manufacturer who can provide us the technology and the product the raw material of the product that we are going to market. So we did need the partners at that stage. Market is the rural areas of Pakistan, especially the cotton growing areas. which are located mostly in the center of, let's say, upper Sindh to South Punjab. That is the main belt where we have the cotton crop, which is the major crop in Pakistan. And then also the wheat crop and some of the vegetable crops. So all the rural areas where we have this agriculture heartland of Pakistan. Our own distribution team, we have own our own factory, my own business office in Multan, and we have at one point we had 17 regional offices, but now there are only four left, and we have sales staffs in different cities of Pakistan, say in Sindh, Punjab, Balochistan, KP, all over Pakistan. When you say means just the sale through the sales team, yeah. It's just the sale. I mean, we have the product and we do provide credit as well. So it's more of an investment from our side. And at the end of the season, we have to, go for the recoveries and everything. So the revenue is mostly from our own resources, no banking involved. We have technical sales of the officers as well. We have technical staff that give the technical advice to the farmer and educate them on the use of particular pesticides, because new products come in every day and they have different usage, different mode of action, and different application methods. So we do give them this expertise, and we hold seminars, we hold training sessions, and we also provide expertise to some of the large farmers. As I told you, the biggest challenges are the unpredictability of the weather. That is the biggest challenge, because you can never plan anything accurately. We do plan, obviously, but these plans can go off target by a long way. It's very difficult to predict, although we do our best according to the weather conditions and everything. That is one challenge. The second challenge is that it's a rural based business completely, and me and my partner, we are both urban based, and we are not able to communicate so well with our end users, and we have to rely on our sales team, which can be very tricky. The salespeople who are also from that rural background, they sometimes manipulate the policies on our toes all the time.
Okay.
Follow it up, and be on the toes, be in communication with the sales teams and the market and everything. Just be vigilant. It has not reduced. Actually, it has increased. Despite our best efforts, the risk and everything have not reduced. Probably we did not do well enough, but it prevails. It still prevails. It still affects us, many of them. And since when we started this venture, we got into the top 3 or 4 within 1 year. So definitely we were a company that the entire market took notice of. And our business model was supposedly better than any of them, because it involved local manufacturing rather than simply importing and marketing. So a lot of people were, they felt uncomfortable with our presence and our success in the first year. So definitely we have lots of competitors.